Stop settling for half love. Have you been holding on to someone who gives you just enough care to keep hoping, but not enough love to let your heart rest? Your soul is tired of living on small pieces of attention. This message is here to remind you that you were never made to beg for love. You were made to be honored. Half love can feel very confusing because it is not always cold all the time. It is not always cruel in a clear way. It does not always look like a clear ending. Sometimes it comes with sweet words, soft memories, warm moments, and little signs that make your heart believe things may change. Sometimes it gives you just enough attention to keep hoping, but not enough safety to let your soul rest. Sometimes it gives you a message after many hours of silence. Sometimes it gives you kindness only after you have already felt hurt. Sometimes it gives you a little closeness, then pulls away again. And because the love is not fully gone, your heart keeps trying to stay. My dear, this is why half love is so painful. It does not always leave. It lingers. It stays near enough to touch your hope, but far enough to leave you aching. It makes your heart wait by the door of someone else's attention. It makes you listen for small signs. It makes you hold on to the beautiful moments and ignore the lonely ones. It makes you ask yourself if you are asking for too much, when all you really want is to feel chosen, respected, and safe. You may have told yourself, maybe they are just busy. You may have said, maybe they care, but they do not know how to show it. You may have said, maybe if I am more patient, things will finally become better. You may have made space for their silence, their fear, their mixed signals, their distance, their excuses, and their unfinished love. But somewhere inside you, there has been a quiet sadness. A sadness that knows love should not feel like begging, a sadness that knows your heart should not have to work so hard to receive warmth. Half love makes you tired in a way that is hard to explain. It can make your body feel heavy, even when nothing big has happened. It can make your chest feel tight after a simple conversation. It can make you look at your phone more than you want to. It can make you feel happy when they finally reply, then empty again when the same pattern returns. It can make you feel like your peace depends on someone else's mood. And slowly, without noticing it, you begin to give your power away. This is not because you are weak. This is because you loved, you hoped, you saw the good, you remembered the tender moments. You wanted to believe that the love you felt could be returned in the same way. You were not foolish for wanting love to become whole. You were human. You were soft. You were open. You were trying to hold on to what your heart wanted to trust. But love that honors you does not keep you starving for proof. Love that honors you does not make you feel like you must earn every bit of kindness. Love that honors you does not come close only when it feels like losing you, then become distant again when it feels safe. Real love does not need to keep your heart in fear so it can feel important. You are allowed to admit that the small pieces were not enough. You are allowed to admit that the waiting hurt you. You are allowed to want love that feels steady. There is a deep difference between a love that grows slowly and a love that keeps you in a cycle of confusion. Slow love can still feel safe. It can still be kind. It can still be honest. It can still make room for your feelings. But half love keeps taking your peace while asking you to understand why it cannot give more. It asks you to be patient with pain. It asks you to stay gentle while your needs are left outside. It asks you to accept a little warmth and pretend your heart is not cold. And maybe you have done that for a long time. Maybe you learned to be grateful for little things because the big things never came. Maybe you learned to smile when they finally gave you attention, even though a part of you was still hurt from being ignored. Maybe you learned to hide your disappointment because you did not want to seem needy. Maybe you learned to lower your voice, lower your needs, lower your hope, and lower your standards just to keep the connection alive. But your heart is not here to survive on less than love. Your heart is not here to keep proving that it deserves care. Your heart is not here to wait forever outside someone else's closed place. You were not made to be loved in a way that makes you doubt yourself. You were not made to keep asking if you matter. You were not made to accept a love that comes with fear, guessing, and emotional hunger. You were made to be honored. You were made to be met with kindness. You were made to feel safe in love, not smaller because of it. This may be the first truth your soul needs today. Half love hurts because it touches the place inside you that wants to be chosen. It gives you a taste of what could be, then leaves you wondering why it cannot stay. And the heart can become attached to that taste. The heart can say, "But they were kind that day. But they said they cared. But I felt something real. But maybe they are afraid." And yes, maybe there were real moments. Maybe there was care. Maybe there was beauty. But a few beautiful moments cannot carry a relationship that keeps making you feel alone. Love is not only what someone says in their softest moment. Love is also what they choose when things are ordinary. Love is how they treat your heart when no one is watching. Love is whether you feel emotionally safe, not only excited. Love is whether your needs can exist without being treated like a problem. Love is whether your peace grows, not whether your fear becomes louder. My dear, you do not need to turn someone's small effort into proof of great love. You do not need to make their little moments of care bigger than they are, just because your heart is hungry for more. You do not need to keep calling confusion a deep connection. You do not need to keep saying, "At least they gave me something," when your soul is quietly saying, "I need more than this to feel safe." There is nothing wrong with needing clear love. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be respected. There is nothing wrong with wanting someone who is present, honest, and emotionally steady. There is nothing wrong with wanting love that does not make you feel like you are always standing on uncertain ground. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong place for what it may not be able to give. And that realization can hurt. It can feel like grief. It can feel like losing a dream you held close. It can feel like admitting that the story you hoped for may not become what you wanted. But telling the truth is not the end of love. It is the beginning of self-respect. It is the moment you stop using hope to cover pain. It is the moment you stop forcing your heart to be satisfied with less than what it needs. I am allowed to tell the truth about what hurts. I am allowed to want love that feels safe. I am allowed to stop calling confusion love. Let these words move through you gently. You do not have to fight yourself for feeling what you feel. You do not have to judge yourself for caring. You do not have to be angry to choose better. You can love someone and still know their love is not enough for your heart. You can remember the good and still stop accepting the pain. You can bless what was beautiful and still make space for something healthier. Half love often teaches you to become very small. It teaches you to wait quietly. It teaches you to accept less. It teaches you to study someone's mood. It teaches you to feel thankful for tiny signs. It teaches you to think your needs are too heavy. But the truth is, your needs are not too heavy for the right love. Your softness is not too much for the right love. Your desire for care is not too much for the right love. The love that honors you will not make you feel ashamed for wanting to be loved well. It will not ask you to hide your heart. It will not make you feel like your peace is a burden. It will not make you keep proving your worth. There is a gentle strength that begins when you finally say, "This is hurting me." Not with hate, not with blame, not with drama, just truth, simple truth, honest truth. The kind of truth that opens the door inside you and lets your own spirit come back in. Maybe you have been waiting for them to change so you could feel peaceful. But maybe peace begins when you stop waiting for someone else to become the proof of your worth. Maybe peace begins when you stop measuring your value by the way they treat you. Maybe peace begins when you admit that your heart deserves more than little pieces of love spread across long seasons of doubt. You deserve love that does not make you feel alone while you are connected. You deserve love that does not disappear when you need tenderness. You deserve love that does not make you question your place every day. You deserve love that honors you in the quiet, simple, daily ways that matter. And if this truth touches something deep inside you, let it. Let it reach the part of you that has been trying to be strong. Let it reach the part of you that kept saying, "I can handle it." Let it reach the part of you that has been waiting for care, waiting for clarity, waiting for consistency, waiting for a love that feels like home. You do not have to keep pretending that half love is enough. You do not have to keep smiling through emotional hunger. You do not have to keep giving your whole heart to a place that only gives pieces back. This is not about becoming hard. It is about becoming honest. It is about remembering that love is meant to nourish you, not drain you. It is about making space for the love that honors you, beginning with the way you honor yourself. Because the moment you stop settling for half love, something sacred begins. You stop chasing the little signs. You stop making excuses for repeated pain. You stop explaining away the sadness in your body. You stop shrinking your own heart to fit inside someone else's limits. And slowly you come back to your peace, back to your dignity, back to your own beautiful life. You stayed longer than you wanted because your heart was hoping for the love to become what it once seemed it could be. That is the truth many people do not speak about. Staying is not always about weakness. Sometimes staying is about memory. You remember the warm beginning. You remember the way they once looked at you. You remember the words that made your heart open. You remember the small promises, the laughter, the closeness, the feeling that maybe this connection was different. And when the love begins to change, the heart keeps reaching back to those first soft moments, trying to bring them into the present. My dear, you may have stayed because you were not only attached to what was happening now, you were attached to what you believed could happen. You were attached to the better version you saw in them. You were attached to the future you imagined. You were attached to the feeling you had when things were good. So even when the love became painful, your heart kept saying, maybe it can return. Maybe they are just going through something. Maybe if I love them better, they will finally love me better too. There is so much tenderness in that. There is also so much pain. Because when you love from hope alone, you can begin to ignore what is real. You can begin to live in the small space between what they give and what you wish they would give. You can begin to forgive the same hurt before it has truly changed. You can begin to accept apologies that sound sweet but do not become action. You can begin to call waiting patience when deep down it feels like losing yourself. You may have stayed because you feared being alone, not because you cannot stand on your own, but because your heart was tired, because the thought of starting again felt heavy, because the quiet after leaving felt unknown, because even painful love can feel familiar, and the familiar can feel safer than the empty space of change. But being alone with your own peace is not the same as being abandoned. And being connected to someone who makes you feel alone is not the same as being loved. Sometimes the heart needs time to understand this. You may have stayed because you believed love means endurance. Maybe you learned that love must always forgive, always wait, always understand, always give another chance. Maybe you were taught to be patient with everyone except yourself. Maybe you became very good at seeing the pain in others, but not the pain in your own heart. Maybe you kept saying, they have been hurt too. They do not know how to love. They are trying in their own way. And maybe all of that had some truth. But someone else's wounds do not give them the right to keep wounding you. Compassion does not mean you must stay where your heart is being neglected. Understanding does not mean you must accept less than respect. Love does not mean you must disappear. You can have compassion for someone and still choose distance. You can understand their pain and still protect your peace. You can wish them healing and still admit that their unfinished healing is hurting you. This is not selfish. This is wisdom. Maybe you stayed because every time you were ready to let go, they gave you just enough to keep you there. A kind message, a soft apology, a moment of attention, a memory of who they used to be, a promise that things would be different and be, 'cause your heart wanted to believe, you opened again. You said, maybe this time. You gave more patience. You softened your anger. You tried to begin again. But beginning again without real change becomes another cycle. And cycles can feel like love when your heart is used to longing. This is why you must be gentle with yourself. Do not look back and say, "Why did I stay?" with cruelty in your voice. Ask with kindness. Ask like you are speaking to the part of you that was doing the best it could. That part of you was trying to keep love alive. That part of you was scared to lose something that once felt meaningful. That part of you believed that if you loved deeply enough, the love would become safe. You do not need to punish that part of you. You need to hold it with truth. I understand why I hoped. I forgive myself for staying in pain. I am ready to choose myself with kindness. Let those words settle softly inside you, because shame will not heal what love has wounded. Self-attack will not help you move forward. Calling yourself foolish will only make the pain heavier. You need compassion now. You need the kind of inner voice that says, "I know why you stayed. I know what you were trying to save. I know how much you wanted it to be real. And now we are going to come home." You may have stayed because you confused your loyalty with your worth. Maybe you believed that if you left, it meant you failed. Maybe you believed that if you stopped trying, it meant your love was not real. But sometimes, leaving pain is not giving up on love. Sometimes it is finally giving love a chance to exist in a healthier form. Sometimes it is saying, "I will no longer use my devotion to harm myself." True love does not require you to betray your own heart. True love does not ask you to prove your loyalty by accepting neglect. True love does not make you earn small moments of care through long periods of suffering. You may have stayed because you were waiting for closure. You wanted them to explain. You wanted them to understand how deeply they hurt you. You wanted them to say the words that would make everything make sense. But some people cannot give the kind of closure your heart wants. Some people can only repeat the same pattern. Some people can only offer confusion where you need clarity. Some people can only give words where you need change. And if you wait for someone else to give you peace, you may wait longer than your soul can bear. Closure can begin inside you. It can begin when you say, "I saw what I needed to see." It can begin when you stop asking the same place for a different answer. It can begin when you trust your own pain as information. It can begin when you no longer need them to agree with your hurt before you honor it. You do not need someone to admit they gave half love before you are allowed to stop accepting it. You do not need them to understand your heart before you protect it. You do not need permission to choose peace. There may have been days when you felt strong, then one message pulled you back. There may have been nights when you promised yourself you were done, then one soft memory opened your heart again. This does not mean you are weak. It means attachment can be deep. It means your heart had learned to connect relief with love. It means your nervous system had become used to the rise and fall, the waiting and receiving, the pain and comfort. Healing from half love is not only a decision, it is a return to safety inside yourself. You begin to see that love should not feel like a storm you keep trying to calm. Love should not make you feel addicted to moments of relief. Love should not make you feel like you are always trying to win back the same person who keeps drifting away. My dear, you stayed because you cared. You stayed because you hoped. You stayed because you thought love could grow if you gave it more time. You stayed because you believed in the good. But now the deeper part of you is asking a new question. Not, how much longer can I hold on? But, what is holding on doing to me? That question changes everything. Because when you ask it honestly, you begin to see the cost. You see how much energy you gave to guessing. You see how much of yourself you placed in someone else's hands. You see how often your mood rose and fell based on their attention. You see how often you ignored your own needs to protect the connection. You see how much peace you traded for hope. And this seeing is not meant to break you. It is meant to wake you gently. It is meant to bring you back to the truth that your life is not meant to be spent waiting for someone to love you properly. Your days are precious. Your heart is precious. Your energy is precious. The love inside you is precious. It should not be poured endlessly into a place that keeps leaving you empty. You can love deeply and still choose yourself. You can care and still step back. You can miss someone and still know you deserve better. You can honor what was beautiful and still refuse what is hurting you now. This is emotional maturity. This is self-love. This is the quiet strength of a heart that is learning it no longer has to survive on hope alone. Maybe you stayed because you did not trust that better love could find you. Maybe you thought, what if this is the most I can get? Maybe you were afraid that if you released this person, no one else would ever come. But that fear is not truth. That fear is the voice of a wounded place inside you. It is the voice that learned to accept little because it was afraid of having nothing. But your future is not limited by the love that failed to honor you. Your heart is not limited by one person's ability to see you. Your worth is not limited by someone else's emotional limits. There is a wider life ahead of you than the one you can see from inside the pain. There is a steadier love than the love that keeps leaving you unsure. There is a deeper peace than the peace you only feel when someone finally gives you attention. And before that love arrives from outside, it begins inside. It begins when you stop speaking to yourself like you should have known better. It begins when you stop calling your hope a mistake. It begins when you stop hating yourself for the time you gave. It begins when you say, I did what I knew how to do then. Now I am learning another way. That is healing, not blaming, not rushing, not becoming hard. Healing is learning to hold your own heart with more care than the people who mishandled it. Healing is learning to believe your needs matter. Healing is learning to stop making a home inside someone else's uncertainty. You stayed because you wanted love. Now you are leaving the pattern because you want peace too. And peace is not less than love. Peace is part of love. A love that honors you will not ask you to choose between being loved and being calm. It will not ask you to trade your dignity for connection. It will not ask you to keep swallowing pain so the relationship can continue looking alive. So let the part of you that stayed be forgiven. Let the part of you that hoped be blessed. Let the part of you that waited be comforted. You do not need to carry shame into your next season. You only need to carry wisdom. You know more now. You feel more clearly now. You are listening to yourself now. And that is where your freedom begins. Your worth was never meant to be negotiated with someone who only sees your value when you begin to walk away. Let that truth meet you gently. Your worth is not something another person gets to measure. It is not something that becomes real when they text back. It is not something that grows when they choose you or disappears when they do not. It is not something you earn by being patient, useful, beautiful, forgiving, quiet, understanding, or easy to love. Your worth was already inside you before they came. Your worth remains inside you if they leave. Your worth is not waiting for someone else's behavior to become true. My dear, half love can make you forget this. It can make you feel as if your value depends on how much attention you receive. It can make you wonder if you are too emotional, too soft, too needy, too honest, too much. It can make you study yourself for flaws. It can make you ask, what should I change so they will love me better? It can make you believe that if you become quieter, prettier, calmer, stronger, less sensitive, less demanding, then maybe they will finally choose you fully. But the love that is meant to honor you will not require you to erase yourself first. You do not have to become smaller to be loved. You do not have to hide your needs to be accepted. You do not have to become less alive so someone else can feel comfortable. The right love will not make your heart feel like a problem. It will not treat your need for clarity as pressure. It will not make you feel guilty for wanting consistency. It will not make you feel ashamed for wanting tenderness. It will not make you question the basic things that love should naturally bring, like respect, care, honesty, and presence. When love is half given, the heart often begins to bargain. It says, maybe I can accept this part and ignore the rest. It says, maybe if I do not ask for too much, they will stay. It says, maybe if I love them without needing anything, they will finally feel safe enough to love me back. But love is not supposed to be a place where you keep lowering the price of your own heart. Your heart is not a thing to be discounted. Your peace is not a thing to be traded. Your dignity is not a thing to be sacrificed for connection. When you negotiate your worth, you begin to accept things that hurt your spirit. You begin to accept silence that makes you anxious. You begin to accept affection that arrives only when it is convenient. You begin to accept apologies without change. You begin to accept being chosen only in private, only sometimes, only when they feel lonely, only when they need comfort, only when you are almost gone. But you are not a sometimes person. You are not a backup place. You are not a soft heart meant to be used only when someone needs warmth. You are a whole being, worthy of whole love. Let this become a new truth in your body. Someone's inability to love you well is not proof that you are hard to love. It may only be proof that they do not have the capacity, the courage, the honesty, or the readiness to meet you where your heart needs to be met. That does not make you less. That does not make your love less valuable. That does not make your needs wrong. Sometimes we take someone's limits and turn them into a story about ourselves. They are distant, so we think we are not interesting enough. They are inconsistent, so we think we are not lovable enough. They are unsure, so we think we must become more. They are cold, so we think our warmth must be too much. But their distance is not your identity. Their confusion is not your truth. Their lack of care is not your worth. You must stop making a home inside the opinion of someone who does not know how to honor your heart. This is where your power returns, not when they change, not when they finally understand, not when they regret what they lost. Your power returns when you understand yourself. It returns when you say, I am worthy, even if this person could not love me well. It returns when you stop asking pain to confirm your value. It returns when you stop seeing rejection as a final judgment and begin seeing it as redirection towards something more aligned. I am worthy without proving. I do not shrink to be chosen. I honor the love inside me. Feel the quiet strength in those words. They do not need to be shouted. They do not need to be forced. They are simple, steady, and true. You are worthy without proving. You do not shrink to be chosen. You honor the love inside you. The love inside you is not something to be wasted on people who keep your heart uncertain. Your care is sacred. Your attention is sacred. Your time is sacred. Your emotional energy is sacred. The way you love is not a small thing. It is a gift. And a gift should be placed where it is respected, not where it is taken for granted. Maybe someone made you feel like your love was too much because they could not receive it. Maybe they made you feel like your honesty was too heavy because they did not want to be accountable. Maybe they made you feel like your needs were a burden because meeting them required more maturity than they had. But someone's discomfort with real love does not make your love wrong. The wrong hands may mishandle what the right heart would cherish. The wrong place may make you feel unwanted for the same qualities that a healthier love would treasure. Your softness may be too much for someone who only knows how to live behind walls, but it will be safe with someone who understands tenderness. Your honesty may be too much for someone who runs from truth, but it will be respected by someone who wants real connection. Your depth may be too much for someone who only wants comfort without responsibility, but it will feel like home to someone who is ready to meet you with presence. Do not turn your beauty into a burden because someone did not know how to hold it. Do not turn your needs into shame because someone did not know how to meet them. Do not turn your longing for real love into proof that you are weak. There is strength in wanting honest love. There is strength in no longer pretending that small pieces are enough. There is strength in saying, "My heart matters here too." There is strength in no longer accepting a love that only works when you ask for nothing. My dear, your worth is not something you prove by enduring pain. Sometimes people think that if they stay longer, love more, give more, forgive more, and ask for less, they will finally be rewarded with the love they have been waiting for. But your value does not need to be proven through suffering. You do not become more worthy because you survived someone's emotional distance. You do not become more lovable because you tolerated being treated like an option. You are worthy now, not after they choose you, not after they apologize, not after you heal completely, not after you become stronger. Now, exactly where you are, with the heart you have, with the love you carry, with the feelings you tried to hide, with the hope that made you stay, with the wisdom that is now helping you rise. You are worthy in the middle of your healing. You are worthy while you still miss someone. You are worthy while you still feel unsure. You are worthy even if part of you still wishes they would come back differently. Healing does not require you to be emotionless. Self-worth does not mean you never feel sadness. It means you no longer let sadness talk you into accepting less than your soul deserves. You see soaking and miss someone and still choose peace. You can love someone and still honor yourself. You can feel tenderness and still keep your standard. This is not coldness. This is balance. This is the place where self-love becomes stronger than the fear of losing someone. This is the place where your heart learns that it can be open without being unprotected. This is the place where you stop giving people unlimited access to you just because you care about them. A love that honors you will not require you to keep proving that you are worth staying for. It will not make you compete with distance. It will not make you feel like you are always waiting for a place in someone's life. It will not make your emotional needs feel like an interruption. The love that honors you will see your presence as a blessing. It will treat your heart with care. It will speak with honesty. It will make room for your feelings. It will not be perfect because no love is perfect, but it will not keep making you feel invisible. And before that love can fully enter your life, you must stop giving the best parts of yourself to what only half receives them. You must stop letting someone's inconsistency take up all the space where peace should live. You must stop arranging your life around the hope that one day they will finally see what they should have valued from the beginning. Make space. Make space in your mind. Make space in your heart. Make space in your energy. Make space in the way you speak to yourself. Make space for love that does not need to be begged for. Making space begins with the truth. I am not here to be half loved. Say it inside yourself softly, not with anger, but with deep respect. I am not here to be half loved. Let the words touch every place in you that learned to settle. Let them touch the part that waited. Let them touch the part that kept explaining. Let them touch the part that felt afraid to ask for more. You are not here to be half loved. You are here to be honored. You are here to be met. You are here to be cherished in a way that feels peaceful to your spirit. This does not mean every relationship will be easy. This does not mean love will never ask you to grow. This does not mean you need a perfect person who never makes mistakes. It means love should have respect at its center. It means care should be present. It means your heart should not be left starving while someone keeps promising a meal that never comes. You deserve steady care. You deserve emotional honesty. You deserve someone who understands that your heart is not a place to visit only when they feel lonely. And even before another person gives this to you, begin giving it to yourself. Stop speaking to yourself like you are hard to love. Stop treating your needs as too much. Stop abandoning your own truth just to keep someone close. Stop letting fear decide what your heart accepts. When you honor yourself, you change what you allow. When you change what you allow, you change what can stay. When you change what can stay, you begin to make space for love that feels different. This is how self-worth becomes real, not only in beautiful words, not only in quiet thoughts, but in choices. In the moment you do not chase, in the moment you do not beg, in the moment you do not explain your pain for the 100th time to someone committed to misunderstanding it. In the moment you choose rest instead of overthinking. In the moment you tell yourself, my peace matters too. That moment may be quiet, but it is powerful. It is the moment you stop negotiating. It is the moment your soul remembers its own value. It is the moment you begin to make space for the love that honors you. Your body often knows the truth before your mind is ready to say it out loud. The mind can explain. The mind can defend. The mind can remember the good moments and say, maybe it is not that bad. The mind can make excuses for silence, distance, coldness, and repeated pain. The mind can create reasons for why someone could not show up, why they pulled away, why they only gave love in small pieces. But the body is quieter. The body does not argue. The body feels. The body carries the truth in places you may have learned to ignore. Maybe your chest becomes tight when you wait for a reply. Maybe your stomach feels heavy after a conversation that should have brought peace. Maybe your shoulders feel tense when you sense their energy changing. Maybe you feel tired after trying to understand someone who keeps making love feel unclear. Maybe your heart feels like it is always preparing for disappointment, even in the moments when things seem calm. My dear, that is not your body being dramatic. That is your body asking for safety. A love that honors you does not keep your body in a constant state of fear. It does not make you feel like you must read every word carefully, study every tone, wait for every small sign, or prepare yourself for emotional distance at any moment. Real love may have challenges because every human connection has moments of learning, but real love does not keep your nervous system living like it must always protect itself. When love is not safe, your body may begin to live in a quiet alarm. You may not call it fear. You may call it overthinking. You may call it being sensitive. You may call it caring too much. But underneath it, your body may be saying, this does not feel steady. This does not feel secure. This does not feel like a place where I can rest. And you deserve to rest in love. You deserve to feel calm around the person who says they care for you. You deserve to feel emotionally safe, not always unsure. So many people ignore their body because their heart is attached. They feel the pain, but then they think about the beautiful moments. They feel the tightness, but then they remember the apology. They feel the sadness, but then they tell themselves to be patient. They feel the fear, but then they say, maybe I am the problem, and slowly they stop rusting the wisdom inside them. But your body is not trying to ruin love for you. Your body is trying to protect the deepest part of you. When you are with someone who truly honors your heart, your body feels something different. Not always excitement, not always strong emotion. Sometimes the deepest sign is peace. You are not waiting for the mood to change. You are not afraid to speak. You are not trying to become smaller. You are not checking their affection like a person checking whether the ground is safe to stand on. You feel more like yourself. You feel able to be honest. You feel able to soften without fear of being punished for your softness. That kind of love feels different. It does not make you beg for care. It does not make you hide your needs. It does not make you feel guilty for wanting respect. It does not make your heart feel like it must work all day to be held for a moment. Half love often brings your body into a strange pattern. A little warmth comes and your body feels relief. Then distance comes and your body tightens again. Then kindness comes and your heart opens. Then confusion returns and your peace disappears. After some time, this pattern can feel normal even though it is not nourishing you. You begin to think love is supposed to come with fear. You begin to think longing is proof of depth. You begin to think anxiety is passion. You begin to think that if your heart hurts badly, it must mean the connection is powerful. But pain is not always proof of love. Sometimes pain is proof that your soul is being asked to accept less than it deserves. Sometimes pain is proof that your body has been waiting too long for safety. Sometimes pain is proof that the connection is touching an old wound, not healing it. This is why you must learn to listen with kindness, not with panic, not with blame, not with sudden harshness. Listen gently. When your body becomes heavy around someone, ask what that heaviness is trying to say. When your peace disappears after contact with them, ask what your peace is trying to show you. When your energy drops after giving more than you receive, ask what your heart has been needing but not receiving. Your body may say, I am tired of waiting. Your heart may say, I need steadiness. Your soul may say, I want love that does not make me feel small. Do not silence those messages. Do not call them weakness. Do not push them away just because they make you face something painful. The truth does not arrive to punish you. The truth arrives to free you. You may have learned to live against your own body for a long time. You may have learned to stay calm on the outside while hurting inside. You may have learned to smile when you felt unseen. You may have learned to accept unclear love because you did not want to lose the connection. You may have learned to carry disappointment quietly because you did not want to seem difficult. But your body remembers every time you swallow your truth. It remembers every message you waited for. It remembers every night you felt forgotten. It remembers every moment you pretended a small amount of care was enough. And your body is not angry with you. It is simply tired. It is asking you to come back. It is asking you to stop treating your pain like an inconvenience. It is asking you to stop forcing your heart to stay where it keeps feeling unsafe. I listen to the wisdom of my body. I allow peace to matter. I deserve love that feels safe inside me. Let these words meet the places in you that have been tense for too long. Let them speak to the part of you that has been trying so hard to be okay. You do not need to be ashamed of your need for safety. Safety is not too much to ask for. Emotional peace is not too much to ask for. Clear care is not too much to ask for. The right love will not make you feel guilty for needing the basics. The right love will not make honesty feel dangerous. The right love will not make affection feel like a reward you have to earn. If you have been in half-love for a long time, peace may feel strange at first. Calm may feel unfamiliar. Steady love may even feel less intense than the love that kept pulling you into fear and relief. This does not mean steady love is boring. It means your body may need time to learn that peace is safe. It means your heart may need time to stop confusing chaos with chemistry. It means the deepest part of you may need to remember that love can be warm without being unstable. You do not need love that keeps your body guessing. You need love that lets your body soften. You need love that allows your heart to open without fear. There is a simple truth here. If love keeps making you feel like you are losing yourself, it is asking too much. If love keeps making you abandon your peace, it is asking too much. If love keeps making your body feel unsafe, your body is not betraying you. It is guiding you. Maybe you are afraid to listen because listening may mean something must change. Maybe you are afraid that if you admit the truth, you will have to let go of the hope you have carried for so long. But truth does not demand that you become cruel. Truth simply asks you to stop lying to yourself. Truth asks you to stop calling pain a normal part of love. Truth asks you to stop explaining away the signals your body has been sending with such patience. My dear, you do not need more pain before you are allowed to choose peace. You do not need another broken promise. You do not need another night of wondering. You do not need another cycle of distance and return. You already know enough to honor your heart. Sometimes self-love begins with a quiet admission. This does not feel safe anymore. Not because you hate the person, not because you deny the good, not because you want to make them wrong, but because your soul is asking to be protected. Your inner world is asking for care. Your body is asking to stop living in a storm that no one else can see. There is a kind of love that will not make your body feel like it must keep watch. There is a kind of love where your needs can be spoken without fear. There is a kind of love where warmth is not rare. There is a kind of love where your heart does not have to keep asking, "Do I matter today?" And before that, love becomes possible outside of you. You begin by becoming safe for yourself. You begin by believing your own feelings. You begin by no longer pushing your pain aside. You begin by choosing to treat your body as a wise friend, not an enemy. You begin by asking, "What would bring me peace?" And then respecting the answer. Your peace is not a small thing. Your calm is not a small thing. Your body feeling safe is not a small thing. These are signs of love. These are signs of alignment. These are signs that your life is moving closer to what truly honors you. So let the truth be gentle, but let it be clear. If your body keeps tightening, listen. If your heart keeps aching, listen. If your peace keeps leaving, listen. Not with fear, but with love. Not with blame, but with deep care. The body does not speak to shame you. It speaks to guide you home. And home is not a person who keeps you unsure. Home is the place inside you where you no longer abandon yourself. Home is the love that feels safe enough for your soul to rest. There is a deep difference between being loved and being emotionally hungry. Half love often creates hunger, and hunger can feel very powerful. When care is rare, every small moment feels large. When kindness is not steady, every soft word feels like a gift you must hold tightly. When someone is distant most of the time, a little attention can feel like proof that everything is finally changing. And because your heart has been waiting, even a small amount of warmth can feel like love returning. But relief is not the same as love. Relief is what you feel when the pain stops for a little while. Love is what helps you feel safe without needing pain first. This truth may touch a tender place inside you. Maybe you have felt that rush when they finally replied. Maybe you felt your whole body soften when they became kind after being cold. Maybe you felt hope rise when they gave you attention after making you feel invisible. Maybe you told yourself, see, they do care. And maybe they did care in that moment. But love that honors you is not only a moment. Love that honors you is a pattern of care. My dear, your heart was not created to live on rare moments of comfort. Your heart was not created to survive on small pieces of attention. Your heart was not created to feel grateful for the little bit of love that arrives after long stretches of pain. Emotional hunger can make crumbs feel like a feast. It can make a short reply feel like devotion. It can make a small apology feel like transformation. It can make a late-night message feel like proof. It can make a sudden return feel like destiny. But sometimes what feels like destiny is only the balm feeling relief from fear. Sometimes what feels like deep love is actually the old wound saying, please choose me. Please stay. Please make the ache stop. This is why half-love is so difficult to release. It does not only touch your heart, it touches your need to be chosen. It touches the part of you that wants to feel enough. It touches the old fear that if someone leaves, it means something about your value. It touches the place inside you that may have learned to fight for love instead of receive it with peace. But you do not have to fight for love anymore. You do not have to prove that you are worth staying for. You do not have to turn emotional hunger into a home. A home is not a place where you keep waiting at the window of someone's attention. A home is not a place where your feelings are fed only when you are about to give up. A home is not a place where your heart lives between hope and disappointment. Real love feels more like shelter. It may not always be perfect, but it does not keep you starving for the basics. This is the part that many people avoid because it can feel painful to admit. Sometimes you are not missing the person as much as you are missing the relief they gave after hurting you. Sometimes you are not longing for love as much as you are longing for the moment when the ache stopped. Sometimes you are not attached to their full presence, but to the hope that they might finally become the person you wished they would be. And there is no shame in this. Your heart was trying to survive. Your heart was trying to find warmth. Your heart was trying to turn small signs into safety because it wanted to believe love was still there. But now you are ready to see more clearly. You are ready to stop calling the end of pain love. You are ready to stop calling a temporary calm a true connection. You are ready to stop letting rare kindness erase repeated neglect. Ask yourself gently, do I feel loved or do I feel relieved when they stop hurting me? Do I feel safe or do I feel grateful when the distance ends for a moment? Do I feel honored or do I feel chosen only when I am almost gone? These are not easy questions, but they are freeing questions. Because the moment you can name emotional hunger, you begin to stop feeding it with old patterns. You begin to see that your heart does not need more chasing. It needs nourishment. It does not need more guessing. It needs steadiness. It does not need more little signs from someone who keeps you unsure. It needs a love that can meet you in the open, not only in small, hidden moments. I no longer confuse relief with love. I deserve steady care. My heart is not here to live on crumbs. Let these words be simple. Let them be clean. Let them be honest. You are not asking for too much by wanting love that does not make you starve first. You are not too needy because you want consistency. You are not too emotional because your heart wants tenderness it can trust. Emotional hunger see and make you accept very little and call it enough. It can make you feel proud of surviving pain instead of asking why love keeps requiring survival. It can make you wait for someone to return instead of asking why they keep leaving emotionally. It can make you turn every small moment of care into a sign that you should stay even when your deeper self is tired. But you are allowed to stop. You are allowed to want love that feeds your heart daily through respect, honesty, kindness, and presence. You are allowed to stop treating small attention like proof of deep devotion. You are allowed to stop letting your hunger choose what your healed self would not accept. There is a version of you that already knows this, a version of you that can feel the difference between love and longing. A version of you that is tired of chasing a feeling that disappears as quickly as it arrives. A version of you that does not want to keep living from message to message, apology to apology, promise to promise, hope to hope. That version of you is rising, not with anger, not with bitterness, not with a closed heart. It is rising with truth. It is saying, I want to be loved in a way that lets me feel safe. It is saying, I want to stop reaching for someone who only reaches back when I am pulling away. It is saying, I want to stop making excuses for love that does not hold me with care. It is saying, I want to come back to myself. My dear, this is where your self-worth begins to become stronger than your hunger. This is where you stop asking, how can I get them to choose me? And begin asking, why have I accepted love that makes me feel so unsure? This is where you stop trying to win someone's full attention and begin giving your own attention back to your heart. Your heart needs you. Your peace needs you. Your future self needs you. The love that honors you needs you to stop filling your life with love that only half arrives. When you are emotionally hungry, it is easy to believe that any warmth is better than no warmth. But this is not true. The wrong warmth can keep you from seeking true shelter. The wrong attention can keep your heart tied to a pattern that keeps wounding you. The wrong connection can keep you unavailable for the kind of love that would actually honor you. This is why making space matters. Not because you are rejecting love, not because you are becoming cold, not because you no longer care. Making space matters because your heart cannot receive healthy love while it is still deeply attached to emotional crumbs. Your soul cannot rest while it is still waiting for someone else to decide whether you matter. Your life cannot fully open while so much of your energy is trapped in guessing. You may feel afraid of letting go of the small pieces because they are familiar. You may think, what if nothing better comes? You may think, what if I release this and regret it? You may think, what if I am alone? These fears are understandable. But staying hungry is not safety. Staying attached to little pieces is not security. Staying where you feel unseen is not love. There is a deeper safety waiting for you, and it begins inside. It begins when you stop begging your own heart to accept less. It begins when you stop teaching yourself that longing is the same as love. It begins when you stop making your worth depend on someone's return. You can care about someone and still know the pattern is hurting you. You can remember the good and still admit the love is not steady. You can feel sadness and still choose freedom. You can miss the comfort and still refuse the hunger. That is strength. That is healing. That is self-love becoming real. And as you begin to see this, something changes inside you. You stop being impressed by small attention that comes without real care. You stop feeling pulled by every sweet word that is not supported by action. You stop letting a little affection erase the long ache of being unseen. You stop calling unstable love powerful simply because it creates strong emotions. Strong emotion is not always a sign of true love. Sometimes strong emotion is the body trying to survive uncertainty. Sometimes strong emotion is the heart fighting for safety. Sometimes strong emotion is an old wound looking for a different ending. But you are allowed to choose a different ending now. You are allowed to step out of emotional hunger and into emotional nourishment. You are allowed to say, I want love that does not make my heart beg. You are allowed to say, I want care that does not disappear when I need it most. You are allowed to say, I want a connection that brings peace into my body, not fear into my days. And the more you honor this truth, the less power half-love has over you. The rare message does not pull you as strongly. The sweet words do not erase the pattern as quickly. The temporary return does not make you forget the repeated absence. You begin to see with clearer eyes. You begin to protect your heart with more tenderness. You begin to understand that love is not proven by the height of your longing, but by the depth of your peace. A calm love may not create the same storm inside you, but it can create something much better. It can create trust. It can create softness. It can create a place where your heart does not have to keep asking if it is safe to open. It can create space for you to become more of yourself, not less. This is what you are worthy of. Not half attention, not rare kindness, not confusing warmth, not emotional hunger dressed as passion. You are worthy of love that can sit beside your heart with honesty. You are worthy of love that does not disappear when things become real. You are worthy of love that does not make your needs feel like too much. You are worthy of love that feeds your soul with care, not fear. So when the old hunger calls you back, be gentle with yourself. Do not attack yourself for missing what hurt you. Do not shame yourself for wanting the person to become better. Do not treat your attachment like failure. Simply remember the truth. I am not starving anymore. I am learning to nourish myself. I am making space for love that can meet me fully. This is the turning point. This is where the heart stops chasing small signs and begins choosing real peace. This is where you no longer ask half-love to become whole while you are slowly becoming empty. This is where you begin to make space for the love that honors you. Making space is not the same as giving up on love. It is giving up on the pain of accepting less than love. This is an important truth because many hearts feel guilty when they begin to step back. They think, maybe I am being cold. They think, maybe I should try harder. They think, maybe love means staying even when I feel unseen. But making space does not mean your heart has become hard. It means your heart has finally become honest. My dear, making space begins inside before anything changes outside. It begins in the quiet moment when you stop lying to yourself. It begins when you stop saying, I am fine. When your heart is tired, it begins when you stop saying, it does not matter, when it matters deeply. It begins when you stop calling repeated hurt a small thing. It begins when you finally allow your own feelings to have a place in your life. For a long time, you may have made space for everyone except yourself. You made space for their reasons. You made space for their wounds. You made space for their silence. You made space for their confusion. You made space for their fear of commitment, fear of closeness, fear of honesty, fear of being seen. You made space for their timing, their moods, their limits, and their unfinished promises. But now life is asking a gentle question. Where is the space for you? Where is the space for your heart to feel safe? Where is the space for your needs to be honored? Where is the space for the love you deserve? When you are always making room for half love, there is little room left for your own peace. Your mind becomes crowded with questions. Your heart becomes crowded with hope and disappointment. Your energy becomes crowded with waiting. Your days become shaped by someone else's distance. You may still do everything you need to do, but inside, so much of you is still turned toward the person who is not fully turning toward you. Making space means calling your energy home. It means no longer letting your whole inner world be ruled by someone's uncertain love. It means no longer placing your peace in hands that do not hold it carefully. It means choosing yourself without needing to hate anyone. This is why making space is sacred. It is not punishment. It is not revenge. It is not drama. It is not a performance. It is a quiet act of self-love. It is the soul saying, I can no longer abandon myself to keep this connection alive. It is the heart saying, I can love, but I must also be safe. It is the spirit saying, there must be room for what honors me. Sometimes making space looks like speaking the truth more clearly. Sometimes it looks like no longer chasing a reply. Sometimes it looks like no longer explaining your pain again and again to someone who has already shown you they are not listening. Sometimes it looks like resting from the story. Sometimes it looks like letting silence teach you what words have not been able to fix. Making space can be gentle. Making space can be quiet. Making space can be filled with love for yourself. You do not have to make a harsh decision to begin. You begin by no longer betraying your own knowing. You begin by admitting what the connection has been doing to your peace. You begin by asking, what would I choose if I believed I deserved love that honors me? That question can open something powerful inside you. Because when you believe you deserve full love, you stop decorating half love to make it look enough. You stop building a home from small pieces. You stop calling uncertainty romantic. You stop making excuses for a pattern that keeps hurting you. You stop taking responsibility for someone else's inability to show up. You begin to see that love cannot enter a room already crowded with fear. Peace cannot grow in a heart that is always bracing for distance. Healthy love cannot easily find you when all your energy is still tied to a person who keeps you waiting. This is not because life is punishing you. It is because your heart has space, and space matters. What you keep in that space shapes how you feel, what you allow, and what you can receive. If your inner space is filled with anxiety, there is little room for calm. If it is filled with old longing, there is little room for new connection. If it is filled with waiting for someone to finally change, there is little room for your own life to expand. So making space is not empty. It is not loss only. It is clearing. It is returning. It is preparing. I make space for love that honors me. I release what keeps my heart small. I choose peace without guilt. Let this be a soft promise to yourself, not a promise that you will never feel sad, not a promise that you will never miss them, not a promise that you will suddenly stop caring. A promise that even with feelings still moving inside you, you will not keep betraying your heart. You will not keep feeding a connection that leaves you empty. You will not keep teaching yourself that half love is the best you can receive. Making space may feel uncomfortable because your heart is used to filling every open place with hope. When there is quiet, you may want to reach out. When there is distance, you may want to fix it. When there is uncertainty, you may want to search for signs. When there is emptiness, you may want to return to what is familiar, even if it hurts. This is where tenderness matters. Do not shame yourself for wanting to return to what you know. Familiar pain can feel safer than unknown peace at first. The heart often needs time to understand that quiet is not abandonment. Quiet can be healing. Quiet can be the place where your thoughts settle. Quiet can be the place where your own voice becomes clear again. In that quiet, you may begin to remember yourself. You may remember what you love. You may remember what brings peace to your body. You may remember that your life is more than waiting to be chosen. You may remember that your heart has needs, dreams, softness, and strength that existed before this connection and will continue beyond it. Making space gives you back to yourself. It gives you back the mornings that were once filled with checking and wondering. It gives you back the evenings that were once filled with replaying every word. It gives you back the energy you spent trying to understand why someone could love you in pieces but not meet you fully. It gives you back the part of your heart that was always asking to be cared for. And slowly, your life begins to feel wider. Not because every question is answered, not because every feeling is gone, but because your energy is no longer trapped in the same painful place. There is room now, room for rest, room for clarity, room for joy that does not depend on someone else's mood. Room for love that does not make you beg. Room for the version of you who can receive without fear. My dear, this is how you prepare for love that honors you. You stop making yourself available to what keeps hurting you. You stop calling pain loyalty. You stop confusing patience with self-abandonment. You stop keeping your heart open to someone who only enters when it is convenient for them, and you begin to hold yourself with more care. You speak to yourself softly. You stop blaming yourself for wanting love. You stop calling your needs too much. You stop giving your best energy to people who only offer you confusion. You stop looking for proof that you are lovable in places that have never known how to love you well. If your heart feels ready to receive a love you no longer have to beg for, stay close to this truth inside you. Space is not punishment. Space is protection. Space is preparation. Space is the quiet room where your self-worth can grow strong again. The love that honors you needs room to enter. It needs room in your heart. It needs room in your choices. It needs room in the way you see yourself. It needs room in the standard you now hold. Because real love cannot fully settle where half love is still being treated like enough. You may wonder, what if I make space and nothing comes? But something already comes when you make space. Your peace comes. Your clarity comes. Your self-respect comes. Your inner voice comes back. Your body begins to feel less tense. Your mind begins to feel less crowded. Your heart begins to understand that it can be loved by you, even before another person arrives with steady care. And that is not small, that is the foundation. When you love yourself enough to make space, you become less available to love that dishonors you. You become less impressed by mixed signals. You become less pulled by pretty words without action. You become less willing to wait outside someone else's uncertainty. You become more sensitive to peace. You begin to notice what feels kind and what feels draining. You begin to choose from dignity, not fear. This is a beautiful change. At first it may feel like loss, but deeper down it is freedom. It is the freedom to stop bending your whole life around someone's limited love. It is the freedom to stop making excuses for what keeps wounding you. It is the freedom to stop living in emotional hunger. It is the freedom to say, I want love, but not at the cost of myself. That sentence is powerful. I want love, but not at the cost of myself. Let it become part of the way you move now. Let it guide your choices. Let it protect the tender places inside you. Let it remind you that you do not have to accept every connection just because there is feeling there. Feeling alone is not enough. There must be respect. There must be care. There must be emotional safety. There must be space for your heart to exist fully. Making space does not mean you stop loving. It means you stop losing yourself. It means you stop pouring your soul into a place that keeps returning emptiness. It means you stop placing your future in the hands of someone who cannot meet your present with honesty. And as you make space, something inside you becomes more peaceful. You begin to understand that real love is not something you force into existence. It is something you become ready to receive by honoring yourself. It is something that feels more possible when your heart is no longer crowded with confusion. It is something that can meet you when you are no longer trying to turn half love into home. You are allowed to clear the old pattern. You are allowed to rest from chasing. You are allowed to make room for something better than what has been hurting you. And the space you open will not remain empty in the way fear imagines. It will fill first with you, your own presence, your own peace, your own tenderness, your own joy, your own return. Then, from that place, love will no longer be something you beg for. It will be something you recognize by how it honors the self you have finally chosen. This is the sacred work of making space. This is the quiet beginning of receiving better. This is how your heart learns that it was never asking for too much. The love that honors you feels different because it does not ask your heart to live in fear. It may not always come with loud words. It may not always look perfect from the outside. It may not be filled with constant excitement, big promises, or dramatic moments. But it has something half love does not have. It has peace. It has honesty. It has a feeling of being met. It allows your heart to rest instead of always reaching. How? If love makes you wonder. Honoring love makes you feel safe enough to know. Half love makes you study every small change. Honoring love speaks clearly enough that your mind does not have to keep searching for hidden meaning. Half love makes you feel like you must earn warmth. Honoring love offers care because care is natural there. My dear, the love that honors you does not make you feel ashamed for having needs. It does not treat your feelings like a problem. It does not act as if your desire for respect is too much. It does not make you feel guilty for wanting consistency. It does not leave you with the feeling that you must become smaller, easier, quieter, or less honest just to keep the connection alive. This kind of love does not have to be perfect. It can still have human moments. There may be misunderstandings. There may be honest conversations. There may be learning. There may be times when both hearts must slow down and listen more deeply. But even in those moments, there is respect. There is care. There is a desire to understand, not a desire to win. There is a willingness to repair, not a habit of making you feel wrong for being hurt. That is the difference. Half love avoids. Honoring love listens. Half love disappears when things become real. Honoring love stays present enough to speak with care. Half love makes your heart feel like it is standing outside in the cold, waiting for the door to open. Honoring love welcomes your heart inside. You may need time to believe this, especially if you have been used to love that comes and goes. If your heart has spent a long time waiting, steady love may feel strange at first. Peace may feel unfamiliar. Clear care may feel almost too simple. You may even wonder if something is missing because there is no storm, no chase, no fear, no deep ache. But sometimes what is missing is not love. Sometimes what is missing is the old pain you used to confuse with love. A calm connection can feel different because it does not keep pulling your body into fear. It does not make you live for small signs. It does not make you feel like every message, every word, every delay, every tone, every silence decides your worth. It lets your heart be human. It lets your feelings exist. It lets your presence matter. This is the love your soul recognizes when it is no longer trying to survive. It feels steady. It feels honest. It feels respectful. It feels like your heart can finally stop performing. When love honors you, you do not have to beg for basic care. You do not have to keep explaining why silence hurts. You do not have to keep asking for kindness that should already be there. You do not have to teach someone again and again that your heart is not a place to visit only when they feel lonely. Honoring love does not make you feel like an option. It does not make you compete for attention. It does not place you in a corner of someone's life and ask you to be grateful for a little space. It does not keep you wondering where you stand. The love that honors you makes room for you, not only when it is easy, not only when it is convenient, not only when you are about to leave. It makes room for your truth, your softness, your questions, your growth, your quiet days, your tired days, your joyful days, and the parts of you that still need tenderness. My dear, this is why you must stop calling half love enough. Because once your heart begins to understand what honoring love feels like, you cannot keep pretending that confusion is the same as depth. You cannot keep pretending that a little attention is the same as devotion. You cannot keep pretending that a relationship is healthy just because there are moments when it feels beautiful. Beauty must be steady enough to hold you. Words must become care. Promises must become action. Feeling must become respect. The love that honors you will not always arrive in the form you expected. It may not match the story your mind once wrote. It may not come through the person you tried so hard to keep. It may not look like the old pattern, but it will feel different in your body. It will feel less like chasing and more like being met, less like guessing and more like knowing, less like fear and more like peace. And this does not mean you will never feel afraid. Healing hearts can still feel fear when something good arrives. You may still wonder if it is safe. You may still feel the old habit of waiting for things to change. You may still look for signs of distance because your past taught you to be careful. But a love that honors you will not punish you for healing. It will not make your wounds feel like a burden. It will not use your past pain against you. It will meet your healing with patience. It will meet your honesty with respect. It will meet your softness with care. I welcome love that respects my heart. I am open to steady and honest care. I allow myself to receive love with peace. Let these words move through the places inside you that have been trained to expect less. You are not asking for a fantasy. You are not asking for perfection. You are asking for the simple things love should bring: care, honesty, respect, presence, peace, safety, warmth that does not disappear every time your heart needs it. There is nothing too much about wanting that. There is nothing wrong with wanting someone who chooses you in a way that does not make you feel confused. There is nothing wrong with wanting a love where your feelings are not treated like an attack. There is nothing wrong with wanting a connection that grows your peace instead of stealing it. Sometimes, people who are used to half-love become very good at accepting pain. They learn to see little efforts as huge gifts. They learn to excuse what hurts them. They learn to be satisfied with less because they fear losing everything. But you are learning a new way now. You are learning that love is not measured by how much pain you can survive. Love is measured by how much truth, care, and peace can live there. A love that honors you will not require you to keep bleeding quietly. It will not make you hide your sadness to keep the connection calm. It will not ask you to keep your needs locked away so someone else can feel free. It will not teach you that being easy to love means having no needs at all. Your needs are not the enemy of love. Your needs show where love must become real. If someone can only love you when you ask for nothing, they are not loving the whole of you. They are loving the version of you that does not challenge their limits. But you are not here to be a silent version of yourself. You are here to be loved in truth. The love that honors you can handle truth. It may not always be easy, but it does not run from honesty. It may need time, but it does not use time as an excuse to keep hurting you. It may have its own fears, but it does not make those fears your prison. And when you begin to choose this kind of love, you also begin to become this kind of love for yourself. You stop speaking to yourself with the same coldness others gave you. You stop ignoring your own heart. You stop making promises to yourself and breaking them just to keep someone close. You begin to become steady inside. You begin to show up for your own peace. You begin to honor the love within you before asking another person to honor it too. That is the true preparation. Because the love that honors you does not begin only when another person arrives. It begins when you stop dishonoring yourself by staying where you feel unseen. It begins when you stop calling emotional hunger romance. It begins when you stop making excuses for what keeps breaking your heart. It begins when you say, softly but clearly, I am ready for love that feels like respect. And when that truth becomes part of you, your whole energy changes. You no longer chase the same things. You no longer feel pulled by every sign of attention. You no longer mistake a little warmth for a safe home. You begin to notice the difference between someone who wants access to your love and someone who wants to honor your heart. This is a beautiful awakening. This is not about becoming guarded forever. This is about becoming wise. You can stay soft and still be selective. You can stay loving and still have standards. You can stay open and still walk away from what hurts your spirit. You can believe in love and still refuse half love. The love that honors you feels different because it allows you to remain whole. It does not pull you away from yourself. It does not make you beg for your place. It does not make peace feel like something you must earn. It reminds you that love can be gentle. Love can be steady. Love can be honest. Love can feel like a safe place for your heart to unfold. And you are worthy of that kind of love. Not later, not after you prove more, not after you become someone else. Now, there comes a moment when you do not only release half love, you become someone who can no longer accept it. This moment may not look dramatic. It may not come with anger. It may not come with a loud goodbye. It may begin quietly inside your own heart when you realize that what once felt normal now feels too small for the person you are becoming. What once felt like enough now feels painful. What once kept you waiting now no longer has the same power over you. My dear, this is growth. This is the soul rising into self-respect. This is the gentle but powerful change that happens when your love for yourself becomes stronger than your fear of being alone. For a long time, you may have chosen from fear of losing someone, fear of not being chosen again, fear of being too late for love, fear of being alone with your own feelings, fear that better love may never come, fear that if you ask for more, you will receive nothing. But the person you are becoming no longer lets fear decide what love should be. This version of you does not need to chase cold energy. This version of you does not need to keep proving your softness. This version of you does not need to turn mixed signals into meaning. This version of you does not need to wait outside someone's heart, hoping they will finally open a little wider. This version of you is learning to choose peace, and peace may feel unfamiliar at first. You may still miss the old pattern. You may still remember the good moments. You may still feel a pull toward what you used to know. You may still wonder if you made the wrong choice simply because the quiet feels strange. But missing something does not always mean it was healthy. Wanting to return does not always mean you belong there. Feeling sad does not mean you should settle again. Sometimes sadness is only the heart releasing what it once hoped would become safe. Sometimes longing is only the body remembering an old pattern. Sometimes loneliness is only the space where self-love is learning to grow. Do not fear this space. Do not rush to fill it with the same pain. Do not run back to what made you doubt yourself just because your heart feels tender. Tenderness is not a sign that you made the wrong choice. It is a sign that you loved deeply, and now your love is learning where it belongs. The person who no longer settles is not a person with no feelings. It is a person who respects their feelings enough not to use them as a reason to accept less. It is a person who can say, I miss them, but I also remember how I felt there. It is a person who can say, I care, but I cannot keep losing myself. It is a person who can say, I wanted it to work, but I want peace too. That is strength, quiet strength, sacred strength, the kind of strength that does not need to prove itself to anyone. You become this person through small choices. Not only through one big decision, you become this person when you stop checking for attention that only keeps you tied to pain. You become this person when you stop reading old messages that reopen the wound. You become this person when you stop explaining your heart to people who have shown you they do not want to understand. You become this person when you choose rest instead of overthinking. You become this person when you listen to your own sadness without letting it lead you back into self-abandonment. Every small choice matters. Every time you choose peace, you teach your heart a new standard. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, you heal a place that was made to feel unwanted. Every time you do not chase, you call your energy back home. I am becoming someone who chooses peace. I trust myself to honor my heart. I no longer abandon myself for uncertain love. These words are not meant to make you hard. They are meant to make you whole. Because becoming someone who no longer settles does not mean you stop loving. It means you stop using love as a reason to harm yourself. It means you stop calling self-sacrifice devotion. It means you stop believing that your role is to wait, forgive, understand, and stay while your own heart keeps breaking quietly. You are not here to be endlessly patient with pain. You are not here to be endlessly understanding of neglect. You are not here to keep lowering your needs until someone can finally meet them. You are here to love in a way that includes yourself. This is where many hearts struggle. They think choosing themselves means they are being selfish. They think having standards means they are being difficult. They think walking away from half-love means they are giving up too soon. But self-betrayal is not kindness. Staying in pain is not loyalty. Accepting less than respect is not love. You can be kind and still have limits. You can be forgiving and still move forward. You can be loving and still say, this is not enough for me. The version of you who no longer settles understands this. This version does not need to make someone wrong in order to choose better. This version does not need to wait for the pain to become unbearable before making a change. This version does not need to keep proving that they tried hard enough. You know what you gave. You know how long you hoped. You know how deeply you cared. You know how many times you tried to make peace with what was hurting you. And now you are allowed to try for yourself. You are allowed to put that same effort into your healing. You are allowed to give that same attention to your own peace. You are allowed to pour that same tenderness into the places inside you that felt forgotten while you were waiting for someone else to love you better. Becoming this person may ask you to change what you call love. It may ask you to stop seeing intensity as proof. It may ask you to stop seeing pain as depth. It may ask you to stop seeing waiting as devotion. It may ask you to stop seeing inconsistency as mystery. It may ask you to stop romanticizing the connections that keep you anxious. A healthy heart begins to desire healthy love. A healed standard begins to reject confusion. A peaceful soul begins to feel uncomfortable in chaos. This does not happen because you become better than anyone. It happens because you become more honest with yourself. You begin to understand what your spirit can no longer live with. You begin to feel the difference between love that expands you and love that drains you. You begin to trust your peace more than your attachment. My dear, this is how your life changes. Not by forcing someone else to love you correctly, not by waiting for them to finally understand, not by giving more of yourself to prove what should have been seen already. Your life changes when you stop placing your worth inside someone else's hands. It changes when you stop waiting for half love to turn into whole love while your own heart becomes tired. It changes when you stop making your peace dependent on someone else's emotional limits. The person who no longer settles becomes careful with their own heart. Not closed, careful. There is a difference. Closed means love cannot enter. Careful means love must enter with respect. Closed means fear is in charge. Careful means wisdom is present. Closed means the past controls the future. Careful means the past has taught you how to honor yourself. You can be open with wisdom. You can be soft with boundaries. You can believe in love without accepting every version of it. This is the new way. And as you become this person, some things may fall away. Some old patterns may lose their place in your life. Some people may not understand the new peace you are choosing. Some connections may feel uncomfortable when you stop giving unlimited access to your energy. But what leaves because you chose self-respect was never meant to be the home of your heart. The love that honors you will not be offended by your self-worth. The love that honors you will not require you to disappear. The love that honors you will not be built on your silence. So let yourself change. Let yourself become someone who no longer feels pulled by the same old pain. Let yourself become someone who sees attention without action for what it is. Let yourself become someone who does not confuse missing someone with needing them. Let yourself become someone who can hold a memory without returning to the wound. This is a deep kind of freedom. It is the freedom to love without losing yourself. It is the freedom to care without chasing. It is the freedom to remember without returning. It is the freedom to want love and still choose peace. The person you are becoming may still feel tender, but they are no longer powerless. They may still feel love, but they are no longer willing to call half love home. They may still hope for good things, but they no longer place all hope in one person's ability to change. Your hope is returning to your own life. Your energy is returning to your own heart. Your future is opening beyond the pattern you once thought you could not leave. And with every gentle choice, you become more available for the love that honors you. Not because you chased it, not because you forced it, not because you proved your worth, but because you stopped making your heart live where it could not rest. That is the person you are becoming. A person who still loves deeply. A person who still believes in tenderness. A person who now knows that love must include respect, or it is not the love their soul came here to receive. The space after half love can feel quiet. At first, it may feel too quiet. You may miss the messages, even if they were not steady. You may miss the hope, even if it hurt you. You may miss the familiar pattern, even if it kept you anxious. You may miss having someone to think about, someone to wait for, someone to imagine a future with, even if that future kept moving farther away. This is why the space can feel confusing. It is not always pure peace right away. Sometimes it feels empty. Sometimes it feels sad. Sometimes it feels like you have stepped away from pain, but peace has not fully arrived yet. And in that space, the old pattern may call to you. It may say, "Go back." It may say, "Maybe this time will be different." It may say, "At least you had something." It may say, "What if nothing better comes?" My dear, do not let fear name this space for you. This space is not punishment. This space is not proof that love has left your life. This space is not a sign that you made a mistake. This space is where your heart stops shaking. This space is where your nervous system begins to learn that it does not have to wait for someone's attention to feel safe. This space is where your own voice becomes clear again. This space is where you remember that your life is more than one connection, one person, one pattern, one hope, one pain. Quiet can be healing. Quiet can be protection. Quiet can be the room where your heart begins to return to itself. When you are used to half love, peace can feel unfamiliar. The absence of the old highs and lows may make life feel strange for a while. You may not know what to do with the calm. You may feel tempted to create noise just to feel connected again. But do not mistake quiet for emptiness. Something is happening here. Something gentle. Something important. something your heart has needed for a long time. You are becoming safe inside yourself. You are learning that love does not need to arrive through anxiety. You are learning that being alone in peace is better than being attached in pain. This does not mean you will never want love again. It means you are learning to want love from a healthier place, not from hunger, not from fear, not from the belief that someone else must choose you before you can feel worthy. You are learning to want love that adds to your peace, not love that becomes the only play. Do you search for peace? That is a powerful shift. Before new love arrives, there is often a clearing. Old hopes loosen, old attachments soften, old stories lose their power. The heart begins to notice what it used to ignore. The body begins to feel what it used to silence. The mind begins to understand that not every connection is meant to stay, even if it once meant something. This clearing can feel like loss, but it can also be grace. Grace does not always arrive as a gift you can hold right away. Sometimes grace arrives as removal. Sometimes grace arrives as truth. Sometimes grace arrives as the strength to stop chasing what keeps hurting you. Sometimes grace arrives as a quiet season where nothing seems to be happening, but deep inside, your heart is becoming whole again. Trust that. Trust the part of life that works quietly. Trust the healing that does not need to announce itself. Trust the peace that returns little by little. You do not have to know who will love you next. You do not have to know when love will arrive. You do not have to search the future for proof. You only need to become present enough to stop abandoning yourself today. The love that honors you does not need you to panic your way toward it. It does not need you to chase. It does not need you to lower your worth out of fear. It meets you more naturally when your heart is no longer tied to what keeps it wounded. I trust this quiet space. I am healing while love is finding its way. I am safe as I make room for better. Let these words become a soft place inside you, because making room for better does not mean you must know exactly what better looks like. It means you know what pain no longer gets to stay. It means you know what confusion no longer gets to call itself love. It means you know your heart is worthy of care that does not keep disappearing. In this space, you may begin to see yourself differently. You may notice how much energy you use to spend waiting. You may notice how often you shaped your day around someone else's attention. You may notice how much of your joy depended on whether they were warm or distant. You may notice how much of your inner world was tied to a connection that could not hold your heart with steadiness. Do not judge yourself for this. Just see it. See it with compassion. See it with the understanding that you were trying to be loved. Then gently call that energy back. Call it back into your own life. Call it back into your rest. Call it back into your dreams. Call it back into your body. Call it back into the simple things that help you feel alive again. Your energy belongs with you. Your heart belongs with you. Your love belongs first in a place where it is honored. This space before new love is not only waiting, it is becoming. You are becoming clearer about what you need. You are becoming more honest about what you no longer accept. You are becoming softer with yourself. You are becoming stronger in your choices. You are becoming less available for the old pattern and more available for peace. That is not nothing. That is sacred work. And if some days feel lonely, let them be human. Do not turn loneliness into a reason to return to what broke your peace. Loneliness can be held. Loneliness can pass through. Loneliness can teach you where your heart needs care. But half love will only make the loneliness more complicated because there is a special kind of ache in being with someone and still feeling unseen. You are learning to choose a cleaner peace, a peace that may feel quiet but does not betray you, a peace that may feel new but does not make you beg, a peace that may ask for patience but does not cost your dignity. My dear, the space before new love is where your standards grow roots. It is where you stop needing someone else to fill every empty place. It is where you learn to sit with yourself and not call your own presence a punishment. It is where you begin to feel that you can be loved by life, by your own heart, by the quiet care you give yourself each day. And from that place, love becomes less desperate. It becomes more peaceful. It becomes more honest. It becomes something you welcome, not something you chase because you feel incomplete. You are not incomplete in this space. You are healing. You are opening. You are returning. You are becoming ready to receive love without abandoning the self you worked so hard to find. So trust the quiet. Trust the clear space. Trust the gentle distance from what once kept you anxious. Trust the way your soul is becoming less willing to accept what does not honor you. Trust the way your life is making room even if you cannot yet see what will enter. Something changes when you stop filling the space with old pain. Your heart begins to breathe in a new way. Your mind becomes less crowded. Your body begins to understand that love is not meant to feel like constant alertness. Your spirit begins to remember joy that belongs only to you. And one day, you may realize that the space you feared was actually the place where you came back to life. Not all at once, not loudly, but gently, steadily, in a way that feels true. The love that honors you will meet a version of you who no longer begs to be chosen. It will meet a version of you who has learned that peace matters. It will meet a version of you who knows that being alone for a season is not as painful as being unseen in a connection. It will meet a version of you who can receive love without giving away their whole self. This is why the space matters. This is why the quiet matters. This is why you must not rush back into what your soul has already begun to outgrow. You are not waiting in emptiness. You are making room. You are becoming whole. You are preparing for love that feels like respect, care, and peace. Now let your heart hear this clearly. You no longer have to settle for pieces when your soul is asking for wholeness. You do not have to but a little care and call it enough. You do not have to accept mixed signals and call it mystery. You do not have to accept distance and call it patience. You do not have to accept emotional hunger and call it love. You do not have to stay where your heart feels unseen just because there were moments that once felt beautiful. Those moments may have mattered. Your love may have been real. Your hope may have been sincere. But your pain is real too. Your needs are real too. Your peace matters too. My dear, choosing the love that honors you begins with choosing yourself in the places where you once abandoned yourself. It begins when you stop arguing with your own heart. It begins when you stop making your needs smaller so someone else can stay comfortable. It begins when you stop seeing your sensitivity as a flaw and begin seeing it as a sacred part of your being. You are not too sensitive for wanting care. You are not too needy for wanting clarity. You are not too much for wanting love that does not leave you emotionally hungry. You are a human heart, and your heart was made to be held with respect. If you have accepted half love before, forgive yourself. Truly forgive yourself. You were not foolish. You were trying to believe in love. You were trying to stay open. You were trying to see the good. You were trying to make something meaningful survive. You were trying to protect a dream your heart wanted so badly. There is no shame in that. But now you know more. Now you can see the difference between hope and truth. Now you can see the difference between relief and love. Now you can see the difference between being wanted for a moment and being honored in a steady way. Now you can see that love should not make you leave yourself behind. So choose the love that honors you. Choose the love that allows your heart to feel safe. Choose the love that can speak with honesty. Choose the love that has room for your feelings. Choose the love that does not make you question your worth every day. And while you are waiting for that love outside of you, become that love inside yourself. Honor your own heart. Listen when something hurts. Rest when your spirit is tired. Stop chasing what keeps moving away from your peace. Stop giving your best energy to what only gives you confusion back. Speak to yourself with the care you have long wanted from someone else. This is how you come home. Not by waiting for another person to finally prove you are worthy. Not by forcing someone to see your value. Not by staying where love feels like longing. You come home by remembering that your worth was never lost. It was only covered by pain, fear, waiting, and hope placed in places that could not hold it well. Your worth is still here. Your softness is still here. Your ability to love is still here. Your future is still open. Nothing that failed to honor you has the power to close your life. Nothing that made you feel unseen has the power to decide how deeply you can be loved. Nothing that gave you only pieces has the power to prove that pieces are all you deserve. You deserve more than pieces. You deserve more than almost. You deserve more than sometimes. You deserve more than love that only becomes warm when it feels you pulling away. Let your heart become honest enough to receive that truth. Let it move through the old fear that says, "What if I ask for more and lose everything?" Because losing half love is not losing everything. Sometimes it is gaining your own peace. Sometimes it is gaining your own voice. Sometimes it is gaining the open space where real love can one day stand. And real love, the kind that honors you, will not make you pay for it with your self-respect. It will not make you forget your own needs. It will not make you prove that you are easy to love by accepting pain in silence. It will not make you keep begging for the same kindness it should want to give. This is not a demand for perfect love. It is a prayer for honest love. It is a standard of respect. It is the soul saying, "I can be patient, but I will not be neglected. I can be understanding, but I will not disappear. I can love deeply, but I will not abandon myself to keep love near. I choose the love that honors me. I am worthy of steady care. I make space for what is true. I am safe to receive real love. Let this be the new message you carry. Let it become the voice you return to when the old pattern calls your name. Let it become the truth you remember when loneliness tries to convince you that less is better than nothing. Let it become the calm inside you when someone offers words without care, closeness without respect, or attention without steadiness. You know now. You know what half love feels like. You know how it keeps the heart waiting. You know how it makes peace feel far away. And now you are learning what honoring love must feel like. It must feel like respect. It must feel like care. It must feel like your heart can exist without apology. It must feel like your body can soften. It must feel like truth, not performance. It must feel like a place where both hearts are treated as sacred. If someone cannot meet you there, it does not mean you are unworthy. It means the connection cannot hold the love your soul is ready for, and you do not need to keep bending your life around what cannot hold you. My dear, this is your gentle release, not a release filled with hate, not a release filled with hardness, a release filled with self-respect, a release that says, "I bless what taught me, but I do not have to live there." a release that says, I honor the love I gave, but I will not keep pouring it into emptiness. A release that says, I am ready for the kind of love that meets me with care. This is how a heart becomes free. It stops fighting for what does not choose it fully. It stops waiting for pain to turn into peace. It stops making a home in uncertainty. It stops calling crumbs enough. And slowly, with tenderness, it remembers that love was never meant to make it feel small. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to receive more. You are allowed to become unavailable for what does not honor you. You are allowed to stop settling and still remain loving. This is your return to yourself. This is your quiet beginning. This is the place where the old pattern loses power and your own heart becomes strong in a new way. The love that honors you begins here, in the way you choose peace, in the way you believe your needs matter, in the way you stop begging for what should be given with care, in the way you make space, not from fear, but from faith in your own worth. Let this truth rest softly inside you now. You are not here to be half-loved. You are not here to survive on small pieces of care. You are not here to keep reaching for someone who only holds you when it is easy for them. You are not here to shrink your heart until it fits inside a love that does not know how to honor it. You are here to remember who you are. You are here to come back to your peace. You are here to choose love that feels honest, safe, and kind. Everything you have felt has been trying to guide you back to yourself. The pain was not there to make you feel broken. The longing was not there to make you feel weak. The confusion was not there to punish you. It was showing you where your heart needed more care, more truth, and more respect. Now you can listen, not with fear, not with shame, not with blame, with love. You can look at the places where you settled and say, I understand why I did that. You can look at the moments when you stayed too long and say, I was hoping. You can look at the part of you that wanted to be chosen and say, you were always worthy even then. And from that tenderness, you can begin again. You do not need to know every step ahead. You do not need to force your heart to heal quickly. You do not need to prove that you are strong by pretending nothing hurts. You can be soft and still choose yourself. You can be sad and still move toward peace. You can miss someone and still refuse to return to what made you feel small. This is self-love. This is wisdom. This is the quiet strength of a heart that has remembered its value. So let the old pattern loosen. Let the need to chase soften. Let the fear of being alone lose its power over you. Let your body learn peace again. Let your mind rest from guessing. Let your heart open to the possibility that love can feel different from what you have known. There is love that honors you. There is love that respects your heart. There is love that does not make you beg for warmth. There is love that can meet you in truth. And until it arrives, you can honor yourself so deeply that half love no longer feels like home. You can make your own heart a safe place. You can speak to yourself with care. You can choose what gives peace. You can walk away from what keeps hurting your spirit. You can trust that making space is not losing love. It is preparing for the love that can truly hold you. Let this be the message your soul keeps close. I am not here to be half loved. I am worthy of love that honors me. I make space for peace, truth, and steady care. I am no longer available for half love. I make space for the love that honors me, and I am home within myself.